Hello, everyone, and oops. Welcome to our book club for Hellenic. Today we're continuing with Greek Religion by Walter Burkert. We have a shared document for notes that I'm actually not going to be showing on the stream here, but I will be showing the book and the pages so you can follow along. And if you join the Discord server, you will be able to get access to the link for the notes, so you can go ahead and add your own and kind of catch up with us if you're just starting. I know we have a few new members on our server who are starting this book, so I'm so glad that we can stream it this time, aka Victoria didn't forget. All right. Oh shoot, we have a stream deck, and we won't be using it this stream, but we'll try another one. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump over to our Discord server where a couple people are hanging out for the book club. Okay, just letting you guys know, I'm gonna turn on the audio so that anything you guys say from this point on is being streamed and recorded. Yeah. All right. Can someone say something?
Hello.
All right. I'm gonna just turn the volume down a little bit. Okay. Not that I don't peak on the volume thing either. Okay, so this time we are starting the next section, which is section 4. I'll show in the PDF here. Oh, I forgot to actually mention, not just the notes is. The link to the notes is in the server, but also you can get a copy of the book so that you can follow along with us or catch up and join us. So we're in section 1, prehistory and the Minoan Mycenaean age. Section 4, this is the last section of this chapter. This, I don't know, I'm just calling them all sections. That got confusing, sorry.
Yeah.
This is the last section of chapter 1, I should say. So after this, we'll be going to Ritual and Sanctuary, which I'm very excited to get to. But let's finish this one first. Which is the Dark Age and the Problem of Continuity. Now, this section is only 6 pages. And as this is an incredibly dense text, I did not finish all 6 pages. But I'm very good at BSing. So we're going all the way to page 71, I think. Yeah, there we go.
Yes.
Last book club was a hoot. I'm kind of sad we didn't stream that one, actually. Let me get my notes here too. I'm just gonna go ahead and copy all of my notes real quick into the shared notes, just so I don't have to have two of them up. All right, and as always, everyone, feel free to add your notes. Oh, that's perfect. Do you guys need the link? Or I think I put it in the reminder post, didn't I?
It is in the reminder post.
Nice, thank you. So we start off on a down. on a downswing, like right off the bat in this channel. I mean, this in this chapter, section, I don't know. Whatever word. That like the raids from, was it 1200 that kind of caused not necessarily dark ages, but no, the little dark age, because like nothing was recorded for like how many years? 400, for like over 400 years. So I didn't actually know why it was called the Dark Ages. I didn't know that there was a reason. I thought it was just like nothing was like being recorded and I didn't know that there was a reason that they were really busy with getting raided an epic ton. So now we know why. And that also, it didn't just cause like a dark age. I was surprised that it also caused a retreat in the culture.
Yeah, I like to think of it Like everyone knows the Dark Age from like Europe, specifically like England.
Yeah.
And I like to think of it like that, where there's
Wait,
almost a regression in society.
are these not the same Dark Age?
No, I think you should refer to the Middle Ages, like that
Oh.
Dark Age.
Oh, that's why the
Yeah.
Dark Age is in quotations in the chapter heading.
Yeah.
So this is a different Dark Age. Oh. Well, there you go. That's totally different than what I thought. I was dumb. I was being dumb. But yeah, the fact that it caused a retreat in culture or like a regression, like as you said, was really interesting.
I'm looking up the dates real quick. So for the European early Middle Ages, known as the Dark Age, it's from 476 CE to 1000 CE.
Can you copy that and put in the notes, please? Thank you.
I can.
Thank you.
That way we kind of know where it is on like a global scale. I think that can sometimes be helpful.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll change my color in a second. I'm just putting it in here.
Greek, like, were you here last time?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Have you missed any of them?
Well,
I don't think I've missed any of them, no.
I just want to see if people actually use the notes.
But I have been bad about using the notes. That's on me though. I haven't taken notes really.
That's okay. You don't have to. But I just wanted to see if anyone actually used the notes to catch up. We had a few deities mentioned in this chapter. I was very excited about that. I was like, ooh. But before that, they were talking.
Oh yeah, this happened. Well, I just Googled to double check our timeline, and if you look at it, it's actually really interesting.
Oh wow.
The Greek Dark Age was from about 1200 BCE to 800 BCE, approximately. So it happened a long time before the European. So I think that is good to know in context, especially if you like comparing cultures and things like that. Just a cool little fun fact so that we kind of know where the Greeks were versus European history, which a lot of people are familiar with European history. So.
Yeah, exactly. And I think also because we have multi-pantheon, although the European... Did the European... Which nations count within the European dark? No, you know what? That's too far down a rabbit hole. Never mind. You know what? No, that's good. We're good. We'll go down that rabbit hole.
It's usually like Western Europe, because like even if you want to go down to like that path, like Greece, even like during that period was in like the Byzantine Empire, so it wasn't quite having a dark age. Like the Roman Empire kind of continued in that era.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
that's what I was wondering. I was wondering if any other pantheons will fall within the European countries that were involved in the European Dark Age.
I do not know that.
By that point, I think like most of like any polytheistic worship was like stamped out by the
Yeah, I
church.
believe
Fair
so.
point. Yep, fair point. Yeah.
Usually by like the 7th century, you don't see much left. You see some pop up at some points, like in Europe, like some revivals.
Yeah.
Over time, but not like anything really continuous.
I found myself wondering why there was a retreat or a what did you call it, B?
Regression?
A regression, yeah. I mean, obviously we don't know because Dark Age, but I was interested in like why is there a regression of culture or a retreat of culture? Because I mean, I get they were busy, raids.
Yeah.
But, well, I guess the raids would also probably destroy what you kept track of, the different cultural events and significances of things. One would think, I guess. I was just thinking, I'm like, oh, why did they lose the history or the why they did things? And obviously we don't know.
I don't think there's any concrete, like, singular reason. Let's see. Fall of the Mycenaeans abandoned or destroyed their centers. Many explanations attribute to the fall of the Mycenaean civilization and the Bronze Age collapse to an invasion by Durians or by the Sea Peoples or even by natural disaster or climate changes, but no single explanation fits the available archaeological evidence.
Oh, perfect. Is that what you're reading from a different document?
That was Wikipedia.
Yeah, Wikipedia. Yeah.
Yeah. It's good for a quick reference.
I love that it references both the Sea People and the Duranians. They're mentioned later on in the text too, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Sea Peoples are mentioned like right off the bat, and they're very interesting. Like, they don't mention too much about them here, but like not much is known about them. But like it's fascinating because like basically the entire Eastern Mediterranean during this period actually suffered setbacks, and it was a complex like combination of things like we mentioned, but like the Sea Peoples was like an interesting part of it because like their raids kind of like destroyed quite a bit, and it's unclear who they were, and they likely like the closest thing we have to records are like Egyptian records, and the Egyptians basically said that they were like a combination of multiple different groups of peoples, because they would describe different like types of warriors and stuff like that.
Oh. I'm typing. Different peoples, and that's the Egypt. Now I got this thing in the notes. It's like, who are they? Why did they attack so much? That's really interesting. So I assume these are the Sea Peoples are people who lived on the sea.
They attacked from the sea, so they basically were like raiding, like they were like raiding with like ships the entire Eastern Mediterranean. So they attacked Mycenaeans. I'm pretty sure they attacked the Hittites. The Egyptians were attacked, but the Egyptians were the only ones I think that were able to fend them off.
Oh wow, that's amazing. Okay, Sea Peoples are kick-ass peoples apparently. Dope. Cool. Why do you know so much about the Sea Peoples, Mike?
So I got on a YouTube rabbit hole watching documentaries literally on the Sea Peoples.
Nice.
I can recommend one or two that are good. I'll find one. I saw one that was like pretty good. I literally watched for like an hour and a half. It was a good how should I put this? It's a good movie to watch if you're a little bit intoxicated, I'll say.
Nice. Speaking of which, in case anyone actually watches this stream, I should probably put a plug, is what I'm saying. We have the City Dionysia next week, which we are currently in the process of planning some cool activities. So make sure to come say hi. That's it. Here's my plug. So I don't even have the stream. Oh, I should probably. Oh, hi, I'm a sovereign lady. Yep, there it is. And I was like, I don't even have the comments open. I should definitely do that. And immediately, what do I see? A most sovereign lady, our most amazing of mods is their modding. So a most sovereign lady said that a Dark Age refers to the lack of written records dating the time period, and the Bronze Age collapse has been the worst in the Western world societal history so far. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
The fall of Rome ain't shit by comparison. And Vondi's back. Hi, Vondi. D-Y-I.
Woohoo! Hello.
Okay, I'm gonna put.
Yeah, I'd say there's also like a lot of like arguments that could be made about like, did Europe really have a Dark Ages, or like was it just a retreat from like the Roman Empire?
Mm.
But there's really no like debate that there was a Dark Age when you consider that there was like this vast empire, like the Messenians, and then like down to nothing for 400 years.
Oof. That's a lot. Let's see here. And we went on to talk about the collapse, actually, of the collapse at the beginning. I'm reading from the text now. The collapse at the beginning of the 12th century affects the Peloponnese and central Greece, whereas the Eastern Attica and the islands at first were immune, and a temporary retreat. There you go, right here, as you said. Temporary retreat for the Mycenaean culture is found at the north of the Peloponnese in Achaea. Oh, goodness. So, yeah, like you said, they also attacked the Mycenaeans, among others. So, that's awesome. I mean, it's not awesome they got attacked, but it's awesome that you knew that, Greek Mike. I was interested in how the attacks also led to a large amount of immigration. Which they can like trace people through archaeology back where they came from, which I thought was pretty neato. And guys, by the way, feel free to like be like, "Oh, Victoria, I found this interesting," if I jump over something. So, but I thought someone asked us a question, which I'm gonna lightly touch on again because it's a very complicated subject. And I don't want us to go too far into it, on folkism. The other day, right? And it was funny because B and I kind of talked about it a little bit, and I thought that this paragraph, sorry, I'm getting a scam phone call apparently. This paragraph in the text on page beginning sentence on page 71 going on to 72, the Achaean immigration to Cyprus can now also be traced archaeologically. And that whole paragraph talks about, for a couple sentences, about people immigrating to various areas. And I thought that was really cool because some of the large temples are thanks to the immigration of the Achaeans, specifically the one in Cyprus is the one they were referencing. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. So like people came and they brought their crafts with them, and you know that really helped us have these really cool temples that were made. Yay. Combining of technologies to make large things.
We love that.
Yes. Yeah, I was just like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's interesting how like Cyprus, as like a country, it's really like an example of like a crossroads just because of where it is, like from like the Middle East and like Greek culture all going there, and that's why still today it's like divided. Like the northern part is like Turkish, the southern part is Greek. It's like it's still a fact today, even that like thousands of years later.
Yeah, it's really a hub of sorts that I can see why a lot of people want to have some control over it. But we're not going to get involved in that. That's a conversation for another day. It was also really interesting. Like the text kind of talked about that, and then immediately went into like, well, also just jumps into the horn god, the copper, the different sanctuaries for the different gods. And it was just funny. I was like, who's the horn god? But more importantly, who's the god of the copper ingot? I don't know what that even is.
It sounds like it was like a god engraved on like some copper ingot. So like it doesn't even. I don't even know what that would mean.
It's basically like, you know what a gold bar looks like?
Oh yeah.
It's basically a copper version of that.
Oh, like I picture with like a god's like face stamped on it.
Oh, so So do you think they're just saying that's the same god as the horned god that it was inscribed on a copper ingot, or is it a different god that just don't know what it is?
I'm not sure because part of me reads it like it's a god on a copper ingot, but part of it is like it is the god of. Oh no, it is the sanctuary of the god on the. Never mind. I can read.
Well, what I mean is it saying like
This
Encomi?
this sentence is not written very well.
Yeah.
To be blunt about it, the editor could have done a bit better on this sentence because it's a very long sentence and it probably should have been broken up into two for clarity.
Yeah, and the lack of the comma there is what makes it confusing because this is like horn god and the copper ingot, and then it's like comma and Enkipion.
Yeah, because it's talking about the central sanctuary of the horned god and the sanctuary of the god on the copper ingot. But here, let me jump to thingy. I'm gonna see what quick digging I can do.
Cool.
I'm gonna search for that.
So, out of curiosity, when you guys read the sanctuary of the horned god, who did you guys think it was, or did you have an idea?
I had a couple thoughts. So the two thoughts that jumped to mind for me, one was Pan or some similar like precursor to Pan that later became Pan of some sorts. And then my other thought was like, well, that's interesting because that's like what a lot of like Wiccans will argue is like there's like a horn god as like their archetype. Yeah. And so I find that interesting that like this is an example of that archetype. Who it was, I don't know. My best guess is like Pan or a precursor to Pan.
I'm just gonna check something. Didn't Dionysus have something with horns?
Yeah, I think the Mycenaeans had a version of Dionysus with horns. That's ringing a bell for me.
Sorry. Most sovereign lady's like, I think y'all got the Dark Age hilariously wrong. Most sovereign lady, I don't know about them. I definitely got it wrong. And most sovereign lady's thinking Dionysus. I'm thinking Dionysus too. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But
because, I mean, I guess like I know the Minoans most likely had other like bull gods. I don't know if that would track with the Mycenaeans or if it would be Dio, but I'm pretty sure Dio had horns in that age.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would, because didn't they mention it somewhere previously in here that it, like that Dionysus was associated with like, I mean, we know he's associated with a bull, but I'm wondering, didn't they mention it before about something with horns with him?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure the Mycenaeans were like had this thing about Dio and bulls, and they were like all rage for the horns. For some reason, that is just sticking in my mind. But take it with a very big grain of salt.
It was on page 45. They had said a cultic structure crowned with horns, and we were like, Dionysus. And the Minoan pantheon, there was a lot of bull gods.
Yeah.
So we also brought up Zeus in relation to a bull god previously too. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the current notes. Bless notes. That's why I love notes. But I also thought, did you find anything on the god on the copper ingot, by the way, B? You stopped typing, so I'm gonna assume yes. Maybe. No pressure.
I haven't found anything. oxide copper ingots in Crete and Cyprus. Let's see. Oh, it's on JSTOR. So I might have to do a little digging.
Oh, no worries. No worries at all. I'm trying to get.
Yeah, that one's on JSTOR. Let's see. Does the abstract have anything? Sometimes the abstract has something. Otherwise, yeah. Let's see.
And we also have, while you're looking at that, we also have the in Kilton. Where is it? In Kilton, the Sanctuary of the Smith God. Who do we know is a Smith God?
Yeah, another one where it's like, oh, of course, the first thing that you think of is Hephaestus.
Yeah.
Didn't the Mycenaeans have a pantheon similar to like classical Greece? I don't know their pantheon as well as I should, but I'm pretty sure they
I was
did.
gonna say, I'm like, out of the three of us, I'm pretty sure you're the expert on the Mycenaeans. I don't know about
I'm
Greek
not a
mice.
classics major.
Neither am I.
No, I have no idea. Actually, either. Which, pretty sure. Hold on. Pretty sure that's a quick. Mycenaean gods. Oh, look, a list of the Mycenaean deities. How wonderful. Thank you, Wikipedia. Totally not a reliable source. But, that did not help, actually. That did not help. Well, a lot of our gods are theirs, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because they're listing, like, Apollo, Ares, Dionysus. And it has to do with what, you know what? I'm not going to mention it because it's actually referenced in the text further on that we're going to read. Or that we're going through.
No, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, there are a lot that just overlap altogether. Even Hephaestus you see right here. So it could be that. Given I don't see Pan, I would say Horn God most likely is Dionysos. Then we could probably conclude.
Yeah. Yes. I'm actually gonna put. So I'm gonna put in probably Dionysus, but I still want to leave the other notes of Pan and the Wicked Horn God as you suggested in here because I think it is, because there are a lot of deities who, are associated with horns or horn animals. And it is not just, there's a list on Wikipedia that I'm looking at, but there's a lot of deities' names who I've never seen on this list. So, not necessarily all us. So, I don't want to take away from that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Aphrodite pops up, finally! I was wondering when she was going to get around. Like, she's always really popular.
Oh, I found something about the ingot god.
Oh, good.
I think. Let's see.
Oh, Sovereignly is going to find her books. Yes.
Woohoo! Where's Discord? I don't know if you want me to share my screen or if you just want the website so that you can pull it up.
Oh, yeah, I think it'll be easier, and frankly safer if I just don't fuss with the stream. There
you go. Okay, so I put it in the VC text chat.
Got it, thank you. Booyah, shakalaka. So...
Without going into JSTOR, so when you open this up, it says the figure on the right is quote-unquote the ingot god, which depicts a figure standing on the base in the form of a copper ingot. The god is represented bearded and wears a horned conical cap on his head. He is armed with a round shield and a spear.
I don't know what just happened. I clicked the thing. You know what the problem is I'm opening this up in not a browser. I'm gonna have to open up a new window. Hold on. So help me. This is how Victoria end up shows things that she shouldn't on her screen. Web. Oh, perfect. It picked the right one, but it also made
good.
It huge. I have to shrink it down. Okay, so now it's actually showing the No, we're not getting close enough. So I see the image, and I wanted to show the image that you're talking about. That's the one on the right, right?
Yeah, and they say the statue on the left is the so-called horned god.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know. He looks pretty happy. I'd go with Dio. I see a smile. Oh, that's great. I'm gonna hold on. I'm just gonna copy this picture and put it straight in the notes, actually. And I'm also gonna stop sharing that. Boop. Awesome. Thank you. And
You're
then
welcome.
yeah, so then we go on to talking about in Paphos, Aphrodite. But it was interesting. It was a preeminent sanctuary. I don't actually know what that means. I should have probably googled that before. Oh, it's surpassed. It's better. Oh,
It's like the main one.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just
which makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's where Aphrodite was born, according to myth. Was Paphos. Like you could actually visit her birthplace. I visited it before. It's actually really beautiful. It's like these rocks where supposedly Uranos's phallus fell into the ocean and became an Aphrodite.
I want to see if I can find a picture of. Oh, that's pretty. Hold on, I'm gonna share that on the screen too. That's really pretty, actually. I just googled birthplace of Aphrodite, and we have all these. It's like a beautiful ocean. Anyway, I did not know the name of the town, so I put it in the notes. Her birthplace. So then we went on to the unable to track. Like there was so much. The thing I noted was that there was so much travel that we're unable. That it says that they were like unable to like track everybody. Which was that whole thing about me mentioning the thing about like folkism is that a lot of people were traveling around. And so there was like a lot of people contributing, obviously, as like creating some of these amazing sanctuaries to our current pantheon. I'm sorry, you know what? I realized I forgot to look at the chat. Okay, nope. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Before I go to page 73, was there anything you guys wanted to bring up that we hadn't covered on 72 yet? Like the Dorians got mentioned. Also, I'm terrible because the minute I thought of that, I read that, I was like, Dorian Gray.
It's okay. I think of the musical mode because there's one called the Dorian mode. So I had a scale run through my head, basically.
Nice.
Yeah, I guess I don't know how your pages are, so I don't know if I'm going on like ahead to the next page, but I guess like kind of the whole part where they talk about the continuity of population, like the Greek area, and how they can determine how they're able to determine how there was continuity. There was like festivals that were the same. There was like the language obviously is the same throughout and stuff like that. So they were able to find like iconography and stuff like that. So they're able to find lots of traces of continuity, even though there's archaeological evidence of continuity, even if there's no written evidence of continuity, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay, actually that's what exactly I was about to go on to. Yes. I just had to search for the word because I didn't have the page written down on my notes. Also, in 1050 Athens. Oh, I just wanted to bring up the proto geometric style. That's what I copied this out for. The proto, in case anyone, I actually looked it up. I got it from like Wikipedia. The 1050, the proto geometric style is a specific style of ancient Greek pottery led by Athens, produced roughly between 1030 and 900 BCE, which was in the Dark Period. But then, yeah, going into the continuity, the names of the gods, it said that are like some of the clearest evidence for the continuity. And it's not just like vague recollections, but it's like a real living cult, which, of course, I thought was really cool because we often refer to our Hellenic religion as a living religion, right? So it went from Mycenaeans to the Greeks, and then the Mycenaeans to the rest of Greece, or the rest of the area, and it's continued to survive the Dark Ages because, like I said, there was important pieces like the names, like what was the thing that you mentioned specifically, Greek Mike? I forgot.
The what? Sorry.
Oh, the festivals. You're saying the festivals.
Oh, the festivals. Yeah, and I didn't name any of the festivals, but I was saying like festivals, those month names they were saying.
Yeah. The calendar.
Calendar. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff remained the same throughout, and place names. So like Knossos and Corinth and places like that, already existed previous to in like linear B texts. And then they still exist. Some of those cities still exist to this day. There's still a city called Corinth that's existed for like 3,000, 4,000 years.
Yeah, let's see here. I thought it was really cool. They mentioned the multiple different types of the different types of calendars. There was one before the Asia Minor settlement. And there's also the Eloian, I don't know how to say that, and the Dorian. Yes, that the month names of the calendars, there was like a few of them, a few different calendars that the month names also survived. I just thought it was really cool because we also have different calendars still. So it's really cool that, like you said, it's completely assured that these are the same ones. But I also thought it was really sad because like they use the word survived, but there's like only half of the Mycenaean gods survived, the other ones were forgotten, which is sad. Do either of you know if anyone is actually worshipping the ancient Mycenaean pantheon? Just out of curiosity on that one.
Not that I know of off the top of my head.
Interesting. Yeah, because I'm gonna put the link to the Wikipedia thing now in here. There's like a ton of there's like it says Pipituna. I'm sure it looks like PIPI then the word tuna. It's like an unknown deity. There's a bunch of unknown deities in here on this list. I'm just gonna put the link in the notes for you guys. Before I move on, actually, I'm just going down to the bottom of that page where you were talking about the continuity. I love that it started talking about that there's a Minoan sanctuary that has a hearth, and the sanctuary, and I was like, hey, Hestia. It was just really fun. I was like, Hestia. And then also the sanctuary dedicated to Apollo, Leto, and Artemis. I have a philosophy question now.
What?
Or maybe it's I'm geographically challenged. Hold on, before I open my mouth. Like, hold on, wait a minute. Let me look at a map. Yeah, no, I'm geographically challenged. Ignore me. I was gonna say so. Wait, is it the Minoan or the Mycenaean? No, it is Minoan. So where's Minoan from? Mino. I don't know how to say that. It's from.
They're from Crete. Pre-Mycenaean.
Oh, that makes so much more sense to me. Okay. Hold on 1 second. I gotta mute myself. See if I was on video or not. He didn't want to disrupt us.
Oh, you're good.
That makes sense to me now that... See, I'm geographically challenged. Okay. That it's Crete. That makes so much more sense. So what did you guys think about the... Or do you guys have any thoughts about the sanctuaries so far before we move on to what's underneath them? As a no. Also, I should make sure I can see the chat. Oops, again. Oh, you know what? A most sovereign lady got beat you guys to it, and I didn't see it. I'm so sorry. Also, a most sovereign lady noted saying, "I don't know anyone reaching that far back in Greek traditions, though I associate with a fellow who hails the gods of Assyria and Babylonia." Oh, that's really cool. Wait a minute, am I still muted? No. Okay.
No, we can hear you.
Okay. Sometimes the sound goes dead for me, like completely dead, as if it was cut. So I'm like, oops. So I thought that the interesting thing about what was found underneath the temples, was because we started reading it, and then later on it was like, oh, these are not proof of previous temples and altars, but that they were built, they were put in there when the temples were being made, or the sanctuaries were being made. I was like, oh, that's cool, because my first thought, if that was me, would be that, oh, there's something before this that they just built on top of. Page, I just want to... Yeah, here it is. But it's only in exceptional cases that the direct evidence leads back before this period. Which, again, it was also because I was thinking for sure that's what it would be. That it was something built on top of a previous temple. And I also I want to show the wiki. I looked up the sanctuary of Aphrodite at
Paphos.
Say it again, hon.
Paphos.
Thank you. My boyfriend asked me today, you could probably, if it's only 6 pages, just read it on the stream. And I was like, we did that for a while. Don't know if anyone remembers, but I had a very hard time pronouncing the words. And it was bad. Here's the link for the Wikipedia for the Sanctuary of Aphrodite. Just as like a really nice picture, which I'm now going to post in the chat as well, actually. It's probably just easier if I just post it in the chat versus trying to show it on my page. Alright, and what were you gonna say? Sorry.
I was just gonna say I wish there was still a sanctuary there that we could like visit. Not like a ruin,
me
but
too.
like
Yeah, there's only ruins. It's sad. Yeah, it just breaks my heart because a lot of ruins of a lot of temples are broken down.
So there is an interesting example of syncretism, though. So there's a monastery near Paphos to this day that has a picture, has an icon of Panaya Aphrodisia. Panaya is Virgin Mary. So it's the Virgin Mary who's literally painted looking like Aphrodite. So it literally is just dressed like Aphrodite, and so it's basically like Aphrodite, but they couldn't obviously worship Aphrodite because of
Oh,
Christianity. So
yeah. Oh, that's so sneaky. I love it. That's why I love it, because it's sneaky. Uh, oh, that's really cool, though. I'm surprised that it's still there, then. Is it still there?
it's still there. There's like an icon. I'm trying to find a picture of it. Cannot find it, but I will find it eventually, and I will post it in the chat.
Nice. And then that was when I read the part that Aphrodite likes frankincense, and I was like, oh, look here. Because this is a pretty old book. As we've noted before, it's a bit outdated. So this would be the oldest reference that I know of the frankincense and Aphrodite connection.
Frankincense has been something associated with divinity and religious experiences for a while. I don't know the exact date of how far back it goes, but I do know it goes really far back, and it's really widespread through a bunch of different cultures and religions.
Ah, I spelt it wrong. That's why I couldn't find it. There it is. The use of frankincense, which was always known in Greek by its Semitic name, has a special association with Aphrodite. There we go. Yeah, I realized. I don't think I mentioned this. At the last ritual, they were burning frankincense, and I was like,
It smells so good.
so I was like, "What is that? What's that smell?" Because they were also burning it in a container that seemed. No, they weren't bringing a container that seemed. It was just the smell of it. Sorry, it was just the smell of it. And so the gods of Sumer held it sacred, the first city ever. Oh, cool. Yeah. And I was like, oh, what's that smell? What is it? It was the chunks of frankincense, not like an incense stick or something.
Yeah.
And they told me it was frankincense, and I was like, oh, and they're like, isn't it great? And I was like, I fucking hate it. Because I remember when I was a kid, I was in an Armenian church, and they were just it was a smog or like a fog of frankincense. Like, it was so much.
Oh.
And it was so bad, and it was hurting my head so much. And
That was the opposite. That was my favorite part of church growing up.
a lot of people, I think I just have an extra sensitivity to it, but I was like, oh, I get to blame Walter for this. But I didn't know it was more than Aphrodite. So it's just generally like a very common scent or thing that was used with divinity or associated with divinity.
I believe so.
Yep.
Like, for some deities, I think it held more weight than for others. I think that's the right way to put it. But it's kind of a good all-purpose thing.
I have heard that, yeah. I'm also trying to make sure we don't necessarily rush through. But the next thing I wanted to note was the noting of, I just copied it. Apollo, which is interesting to me. I wanted to ask you guys this because, of course, Apollo's sister Artemis, right? She's the goddess of the hunt, but she's also like protector of animals at the same time, right? And yet Apollo, one of the things was a hepatoscopy. Oh my goodness, I can't read this. Where is it? I'm gonna search the word, so I can let you guys know what page it's on. But it means the divination by inspecting the liver of animals. And there we go. It's page 78, actually. So we're actually almost done with it then, yeah? Yeah, 2 more pages. So I thought that was interesting because I've actually seen that done many years ago. But I thought it was interesting because of the association both with Apollo with not just the arts but with healing, and also with Artemis being the protector of animals. Like, I don't know, I thought that was, it felt a little contradictory to me. Not that I'm the one to judge, but I was just like, I just wanted you guys' thoughts on it. Like, what, obviously we don't sacrifice animals now because it's mean.
Some people do in very specific situations.
Oh, yeah.
But it's definitely not common anymore.
No. I do support going to the butcher and getting the offcuts though, because no waste.
Well,
Yeah.
And not everyone eats liver. So.
Not for me.
No, not for me either. But it was saying it was Apollo's the master of the mantic arts, the most important of which whatever that is, at the sacrifice, unquestionably came to the Greeks from ancient Mesopotamia, via Anatolia / Syria and Cyprus. Look at me saying words correctly. Mostly correctly. It didn't go into any further detail on how they know it unquestionably came.
Yeah, I feel like that's a very big, I'm trying to think of the right way to say it. Saying that...
Assumption? Or statement?
I don't want to say it's an assumption, but it's kind of like an extreme. Because we don't know everything. Well, there are some things we know, like, yes, this was how it was done. But we don't know it for sure came from this one place, like, unquestionably. Someone is always going to question it. That is the point of research. That is how research is checked and it's expanded upon. So, I think it's the word choice that they use that's making me go, more than, like, him saying, if he said it most likely came to the Greeks from ancient Mesopotamia via, I feel like that would have been the better word choice, but that's getting really nitpicky about him and his author.
Well...
him and his editor.
Yeah, but it's also important because, I wanted to bring that one up, because of the fact that earlier, in an earlier section, I know I was not there for this one, but... that you had additional new information that basically entirely contradicted what was in this text. That was newer information. So I did want to bring that up exactly for that purpose. That it just seems like poor wording, but yeah. And the most sovereign lady says a lot has been lost or forgotten or both.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we can't say something for certain, especially when we're talking about Dark Ages and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, even before the Dark Ages, not everything is 100% crystal clear.
Yeah. And especially it's hard with stuff like this, because it's like, you almost can imagine that, like, divination has kind of existed for a long time, and, like, basically anything you could use as divination medium, people have used. And so I'm almost wondering how much of it could have been, like, discovered in parallel rather than, like, unquestionably transferred, even though a lot of it probably was transferred over. And especially from that area, like I said, like, earlier, like, Syria is right across the way from Cyprus. Like, it's very, very close. So, same with Anatolia.
Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any online sources from like where this might have originated from. Babylonians comes up. Let's see.
I'm just gonna add some stuff in the notes while you're doing that.
No, I don't want occultism. There we go.
Why am I not reading this properly? The last sentence is, these of course only individual components in very much more complex divine creatures.
Let's see. This was a common practice among ancient Romans, Babylonians, Etruscans, and Hittites.
Okay, so it was just very common back in the day. I
Yeah.
guess.
It kind of went along as part of animal sacrifice, which makes sense. It's not going to be for me, as much as I love divination, but it was a thing. Actually, you can see a version of it in the movie Stardust. It is totally like a fantasy steampunk movie, but they do actually have like the evil witches doing this kind of divination in it.
I know that movie.
Really cool side note. It's one of my favorite movies, but I kind of think it's cool that like we can see it through different forms of media and such. Obviously, it's not the same as they would have been in ancient times, but you can understand kind of what the vibe was, more or less.
Nice. I'm adding that to the notes. Yeah. Oh, awesome. Thank you for helping me find the route to that.
I try.
The next one we have is the sanctuary for Hera.
Yeah.
In Samos, which one would have thought that the word Relgiion would have clued me into the fact that it's Hera, but nope. Nope. I had to go Google it again.
It's a Friday.
Yep.
It's okay.
So it was also a large altar. And it is older than some of the other sanctuaries. That was it. So what was interesting is, I'm just gonna read it's on page 78, but I'm just gonna read it. I think they meant to say as a cult statue, but as cult statue. However, there was at first a board which at the festival was carried into the sea and then returned. This may be placed in a Hittite, Hellenic, oh Jesus, this is why we don't read things anymore. Complex of the disappearing and returning god of prosperity, Telepinu. The later anthropomorphic image of Hera, where and it goes into what the later image of Hera looks like. Here was one thing that I was confused and I wanted to ask you guys about. Telepinu, I am confused as to why this is mentioned with the complex, the sanctuary for Hera. And so it just seems so random in that paragraph, and I couldn't find a connection between Telepinu and Hera. Let me bring this in here. Just, I mean, thoughts? Question mark?
Well, he was kind of like a god of fertility, I believe.
Or I'm wondering if they just threw that in there because that was just a ritual that was done at that sanctuary. Like, I don't... Because it is a sanctuary by the sea. And I love that on Google Maps it actually shows Temple of Hera. By the way.
Love that.
Yeah, it's like you can like see the water from it. It's actually marked on a map for but
I'm kind of wondering if like Hera went by another name because they did have a mother goddess. So if they're kind of saying like Hera and the mother goddess were similar or the same deity under a different name, I feel like that's possible.
yeah, I don't know, just because Telepinu is his own deity. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a god of fertility, so I guess would go hand in hand with like marriage and children, but yeah, it just seems so random. Like, oh yeah, we have this really cool big statue, big sanctuary temple to Hera, but wait, hold on, here's this bit about this other person suddenly, and then it goes back to Hera about the later anthropomorphic image of Hera, wears a pectoral with chains of fruits and symbols of plenty, which has counterparts in Asia Minor down to Ephes and Artemis. So I'm like, it just seems so. I guess it's that the next bit. It says the next bit that both features with Hittite counterparts, but it still seems super randomly specific to mention Telepinu. I don't know. Maybe it made more sense to him, to Burkert, to Walter.
That happens a lot in academia.
Oh, does it?
Oh, oh yeah. Where the person writing it is like, yeah, people will know what I mean. No, we do not.
Oh, okay. Good. I'm not nuts.
No.
I like it. Almost felt a little backwards, but I liked it when, like, just after that, it mentioned about like, oh, like this really cool stone building, and just kind of like, oh, this is really cool, just to kind of highlight the point of like these temples were feats of building, and it was really amazing and difficult to do this.
Yeah.
Like, just in case you didn't get the note.
And I think that's something interesting to think about, because that's probably why after the Dark Ages, like Homer, to them, like they were, if you look at like the heroes that they call back to, there are people from like Mycenaean Greece, from like the Bronze Age. And so it's like they were, that you could really think of it as like they were surrounded by all these like crazy temples, all these things that they kind of forgot how to build. And they must have thought the people that could build it were like gods themselves. So it explains why there was so much hero worship later on in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah, I like that. That's almost kind of how people even now today are like, how did the Egyptians build these? Aliens. Because it's just, I mean, right? Like, it's just that it's so unfathomable, and so awe-inspiring that you're like, this is crazy. How could this have, how could they have done this?
There's new research always coming out, and people testing and thinking of different ways that ancients built these awesome structures, and I mean that in like the literal sense of the word awesome.
Yeah. And it was funny because I remember, what's that? What was that show on YouTube? Crash Course History, something like that.
Oh yeah,
one of the episodes, because they did the open letters to whoever, whatever, and I remember one of the episodes having an open letter to the word awesome, because it's so common now to use the word that we've almost kind of forgotten that it's supposed to be awe-inspiring, good or bad. And it was, it's just become a common word that we don't quite use in the same context as we used to. Uh, Random ass side note. But yeah, it was, and it mentioned specifically that the northern Syrian, or yeah, North Syrian craftsmen immigrating to Crete is like that. It just a couple times in this section just kind of gave a nod to the different craftsmen, like it did in the beginning. That some of these large temples are thanks to the immigration of the Achaeans, or in this segment here, the North Syrians. Melting pot of skills. Oh, melting pot, literally. Oh no, it's a smelting pot. See, I just stream so I can try out my material on you guys, that's all. Then I go make my real money as a comedian.
But
I love how they went from like breakthroughs in building and in crafts straight to one thing that technically qualifies as craft, but like we wouldn't think about it as a craft, which is fashion, right?
No, it definitely is.
Well, I think that most people just buy their clothes. I mean, I sew, but
yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? But it is a craft. Most people don't, like, I feel like we forget because a lot of us, we have department stores and internet to buy clothes now. We're not sitting here sewing our own clothes. Clothes. Sorry. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting. I do have a particular love of fashion, so not that far back. No, not like 700 or 6. Yeah, that's really far back. But I love they were like, hey, like Egypt set the tone for like the 26th dynasty. Like there was even, yeah, exactly. I'm not a crafts person. Sorry, Sovereign Lady noted. They're like, well, Sovereign Lady said, well, you're not perhaps. And yeah, I don't sew a lot of my clothes. Yeah, I didn't have too much note on the fashion section other than like, oh, cool fashion, but like ancient.
Ancient, but make it fashion.
Yes. I'm not sure if I think I shared it in the Discord server, not recently though. There's an image of like how you can make the different style robes from like just a plain sheet, and I kind of
yeah,
right, and I'm like, I wonder, is that like authentic? Is that like the same way? I'm like, I don't know, but this made me think of that, being like, oh, I wonder if there is like how to authentically sew garments. I don't know how to say that without using like bone tools and shit, but just like how it was done specifically, not how to do it necessarily because we have sewing machines.
I feel like there's gotta be someone out there who researches ancient clothing and fashion.
I mean, I know some, but like
not tell you.
Not this far back. Like I follow a couple on YouTube, but it's usually like Victorian era.
Yeah, that's the popular one.
Yeah, it is really popular. I haven't seen, or like leather working, but I haven't seen anything like this far back.
No.
And then Dionysus pops up again.
Yeah.
Yay. But yeah, I love that we're back at like, oh, like a really early statue of in the, oh, I need a hold on. God darn it. Here you go, guys. I'm gonna So I'm gonna read this. The earliest bronze sculpture in the palace, I believe, in the palace, presents the naked male figure, even if it is a god which is portrayed And in the cult of Dionysus, a god attested in Mycenaean masked figures, now real in divine abandon. And I'm going to play this for like 5 seconds so that we don't get in trouble. But here, you guys go ahead and play that.
Yesterday I heard you say you're lost, but life has gone away.
Okay.
Make a decision, start a new religion.
How did I know that you were going to pull that up?
Orgiastic dances, nymphs and chances. Yeah, we'll be the envy of the gods above. I'm feeling devious.
You're looking
Glamorous. Let's get mischievous and polyamorous. Wine and women and wonderful vices. Welcome to the cult of Dionysus.
Okay, I'm good. I wanted it to get to the line on the stream. But I was like, oh, I didn't know why was Dionysus attested in Mycenaean? I thought we covered earlier that he was popular, that he came, or was that from a Minoan actually?
He was definitely Minoan, probably even pre-Minoan.
Got it. It was a Minoan. So the Mycenaeans didn't like.
I'm actually not sure because I know we have seen him in Linear B tablets. I think the Mycenaeans liked him because I think they did have like horned imagery of him and stuff, like we were saying earlier.
Yeah.
He's a pretty likable deity. I mean, he was worshipped even like pre-Minoan culture, so him surviving, I feel like he just takes on different faces for what the culture needs, you know?
That sounds like it, yeah. Yep. But I love that they mentioned like it was like previously attested, now it's like celebrated with divine abandon.
Well, attested just means it's like confirmed.
Wait, what? Oh, I'm getting attested and detested. Confused.
Attested is affirmed to be true, genuine, to authenticate, stuff like that.
I Googled it. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, he's definitely not detested.
Nope, I got
No.
That's why I was like, why is that makes so much more sense now. Read carefully. I feel like half these streams is just showing that I'm a little dumb. But that's okay. I will suffer so others can learn. It's funny, I don't get embarrassed at all. But yeah, that's pretty much, we're about to like end the section. There was something else I wanted to note about the rituals here.
There's something about communal meat meal combined with a burnt offering to the gods, primarily the inedible parts and the bones, which tracks with what we know of ancient Greece. So
yes,
that's cool.
That's what I wanted. I love that referenced the myth that was with, hold on, the guy who rolls the boulder, because he got is it the boulder or no, Prometheus. Isn't that Prometheus?
Prometheus stole fire.
Yeah,
and
but didn't he also trick Zeus into taking the bones and stuff covered in fat? Yes, yeah, he did. Prometheus has two principal legends concerning Prometheus in the Hestioid. The first is that Zeus, the chief god, who had been tricked by Prometheus into accepting the bones and fat sacrifice instead of the meat, hid fire for mortals. And that's why.
There we go.
Yeah, Most Sovereign says he did a few things that got him chained to the rock for a bit.
Yeah, he did.
And that's when he then stole it because he was like, because the fire, they cooked the meat and the fat, and what they did, the fat smelled really good. And so Zeus was like, that one, because that smells like a backyard barbecue, and he's like, surprise, it's bones. I want barbecue. For this reason, the fire altar, which stands open to the sky, is the most central part of the sanctuary. Oh, that's cool.
Which tracks. It makes sense.
Yeah. I like
I really like...
Go ahead, sorry.
We might be saying we like the same thing here, which is I really like how they say that in the exchange it goes to celebrate it without like a hierarchy. It's very much all people equal. I think that's really cool and a good way to...
That's exactly
good thing to reconstruct.
Yeah, I love that. I love that it's all no one is greater than anyone else.
In the eyes of the gods, yeah.
Wasn't that something that was also said in one of the movies? What was it? I don't remember, but it was a movie. It did not paint Hades well. And basically Hades came down because like the king and queen were like, we're so beautiful and their daughter's so beautiful, and he was like, you fools, like you're no better, like, anyway, I can't remember the name of the movie, but I love that notion. Yeah, I agree. Most Sovereign Lady says, I have yet to see a movie that does paint Hades well. I mean, I posted it in the server, did not get good responses to like we should have Tom Hiddleston play Hades, and shoot, what's his name? Hemmingsworth? Shoot, I forgot his name.
Yeah.
I would be cool if they made a full movie out of that like commercial that they had for the BMW.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that I totally want Arnold Schwarzenegger to play Zeus. I think he's hilarious, and I think he'd be great for it.
Salma Hayek as Hera would be perfect.
Yes, right. I agree. Too many people mistaking Hades for Satan. Yeah,
that is a problem.
But after reading this section, I can also say plug. Plug.
We talked about the representation of gods in media in the Wednesday night Chillin' Hellenist stream. So come join us for fun questions like that.
We did. You're right.
Yeah.
I was going to say that I can see, considering how far back and how crossed some deities were in different areas of the world and different cultures, that just from this reading, because obviously I was dumb and didn't realize that, I put it in the notes, hold on. Crete, we literally, we corrected me on it the other day, a minute ago. Oh, Minoan, that Minoan is also Crete, before Crete was Crete. It was Minoan before it was cool. Before Crete was cool. I can see how people can get easily confused, or think that they are comparable, because before reading this, not long before reading this book, did I only learn that Dionysus came from from somewhere else. I was like, wait, what? I didn't know that. Dionysus has a long history. But I love this whole end bit because I love that it explains a little bit and references the history of Prometheus, as well as that whole, like, we are all little amoebas on one planet, and we don't all matter more than the other.
I really like this, like, half a sentence, sentence fragment, I guess. It is the solidarity of mortals in the face of the immortal. I I really like it, and I think I don't know. I just think it's really good.
I think that is. I agree.
I think it speaks for itself in how we feel with the gods, and no one should put themselves on a pedestal because the gods are like, you are all humans.
I agree. Okay, let's all hold hands and sing Kumbaya. That's
You don't want me
actually
to
it,
sing
right?
on stream.
I don't even
I
know
promise you that.
Kumbaya. No, but we should do another karaoke day because that was really cool. Karaoke night.
I will pull up the karaoke tracks. I will not sing. I will save you all from that torture.
I'm sure we all suck. So the next section, let's just quickly plan out the next section reading, and then I will actually remember to make a calendar event or an event on the Discord server, because I think that really helps remind people, and I just keep forgetting to do it. So the next section is Ritual and Sanctuary. I'm fixing the notes to put in the last section. Sorry. So let's see here. Ritual and Sanctuary. 1, 2. 4, 5, 6. Okay. What if we did until 1.2? Oh, bloodbath. You know, that might be a good place to stop.
Yeah, I think if we get through the intro to the section and animal sacrifice, which I think there's a lot to talk about with animal sacrifice, even though a majority of us don't practice it, I think it's good to talk about still.
Yes.
Especially before blood rituals.
Yeah, I think it's important to just talk about it in general before.
Yeah.
So that's 1.1. So intro 1.1. Oh, and 1.1, which is working sacred things. Animal sacrifice. And just the description and interpretation before we get to the blood. Yeah, so a sovereign lady is mentioning, I see no reason to object to animal sacrifice in society. Our societies butcher animals by the literal billions per day. I don't know what FFS is. I don't necessarily object to animal sacrifice, just to be clear about this. I object to waste and the potential for people to be doing this that don't know how to do it properly and are not doing it humanely, or would not know how to do it necessarily humanely, or in a way that
or swiftly,
safely. Yeah, safely. That's, I think, the thing that I most object to it too.
So I have an interesting, like, I've picked up a lamb from a farm before, and like,
oh yeah,
like with the intention of like roasting it on a spit, like entirely, and like I don't, and they can literally not sacrifice it, but prepare it halal, which is effectively they face it a certain way, and it's like I'm like thinking to myself, like I was thinking to myself, like, what if I asked him to just say like something to like Zeus? I could do that if like, but yeah, unless you're gonna like actually be doing it yourself professionally, I would say we probably should never be sacrificing animals ourselves, just because of chance of cruelty is much higher.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, that would be my main objection. I have also picked up, well, I personally didn't do it. My parents did when I was younger. We lived in Rhode Island, and we went in with another family and bought like half a cow. It was a lot of meat. So we split it between our two families, but I was in the car. We're on the farm. I did not go to the animals or the butchering area or anything like that. So, and the animal, of course, was well butchered before we got there because that's a lot of work. But I'm more concerned about the promotion of doing it. I feel like that might open up some people to doing it on their own, and that might not be the safest to do.
Yeah.
So, but we're gonna talk about that. We'll probably mention all of this over again next time. But we're gonna be talking about going all the way to section 1 through 1.1 to the beginning of, and not starting 1.2. Because that's about 6 pages, and that's about what we're averaging. I feel like we're gonna finish this book before June at this pace, actually, even though I thought 6 pages a week was like a really slow pace originally.
There's just a lot to talk about.
It is, and it's just really dense.
It is.
Just so dense. But thank you guys for joining me.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go have dinner.
Enjoy. Have a good
And-
evening and a good weekend, folks.
Yeah.
You too.
And as always, if I always remember, yes, I agree with you, Sovereign Lady. But as always, as I always try to remember to say to all of you, out there in the nether, may the gods bless you today and for the rest of the weekend, and always. And make sure to come check us out on the Discord, which I realized I forgot to plug. And we meet every week at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to talk about, at this juncture, Greek Religion by Walter Burkert. Have a great evening.